Hello, everyone. It's Jeff Rutledge from MedResults Network, and as always, thank you for coming. For some of you, it's evening. For some of you, it's afternoon, but it is your time, and we totally respect it. So, for those of you that watched the webinar last week, we really covered, or I should say, Dr. Humble covered the science of Klotho, and now we're going to talk about, or she is about how to get this into your practice and how to use it, and of course, how to make money on it. But the most important thing is that this is viable for your patients. So I'm going to switch this over to Dr. Humble. Dr. Humble, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you and welcome everyone. This is module 2. There's going to be a very quick review. The main learning objectives for this module is we're going to be going over our in vivo and in vitro studies, both cellular and clinical studies. Okay, let's start. The challenge, skin health and aging. We all know about this. Repetitive facial movements, genetics, lifestyle, UV exposure, aging itself is all reflective in the skin. The skin is the largest organ we have. There are only about 128,000 deaths from melanoma and non-melanoma cancer per year, but billions and billions of dollars go into the skincare industry. We know the sunscreens that we have, especially the chemical ones, are not effective between 380 and 420. And even with the physical ones, you're supposed to apply them every 2 hours, and people just aren't doing it. Up until recently, we haven't had much to offer in the way of skincare. Skin Medica changed that with the introduction of growth factors. Now we have the exosomes. Clearly, we have Klotho, and at least now the market is beginning coming to us with things that are actually effective. So again, what if your skin doesn't have to age like everyone else's? This is where the Klotho gene and protein come in. A quick review. The Klotho gene was discovered in 1997 by Kuru. He accidentally downregulated the gene, which makes less Klotho protein, and that mouse dies at 5% of his lifespan with early atherosclerosis, pulmonary emphysema, renal disease, atrophic skin, and lousy fur. He then upregulated the gene in the mouse model, making more Klotho protein. The mouse lived 31% longer, but more importantly, all systems stayed younger longer. So you're extending life of your cells and you're extending the time until you get an onset of age-related diseases. We covered this in great detail last time. I want to point out that Klotho is a gene and a protein. There are three different proteins, alpha, beta, and gamma. We are talking about the alpha soluble going forward. So the mechanism of action, we went into detail. It increases FOXO1, which then increases superoxide dismutase and acts as a blocker of oxidative stress. It decreases inflammation, increases platelet factor, increases nitric oxide, promotes the length of the cell life by increasing two other genes which preserve the telomeres, and then allows your cells to replicate more accurately by decreasing your DNA damage. And we're going to be presenting those studies today. So going forward, we're going to be talking about fibroblasts and skin. What does the Klotho protein do for our skin? We know it delays the aging by blocking oxidative stress. Remember, this is 30% of the reason that your cell is aging. That's because it increases superoxide dismutase and catalase. It increases nitric oxide. This is working on the endothelium of your blood vessels. This is allowing oxygenation of the tissue. It decreases transepidermal water loss, so it is a hydrator. It allows your cells to replicate more accurately by decreasing DNA damage, increases other genes, HTERT and SIRT6, which are going to preserve the end of the telomeres, protects from UVA and UVB damage, delays aging and age-related diseases of the skin, reverses skin atrophy, and activates platelet factors. Now, that is a very long list about what one protein can do. Going forward, this is what our company has done, and we're going to go into each one of these studies. We knew that we had to get the Klotho protein in a topical form. We actually had one patent that actually failed, but on our second patent, what we did was we took this. This is a construct. I want you to think of this as an on and off switch. We took adult mesenchymal stem cells in a petri dish. So you can do this in your living room tonight. Get stem cells in a petri dish. They're alive. You have to feed them a substrate, a broth, and they excrete a fluid. That fluid is called cell conditioned medium. Now, this is how Skin Medica and Neocutis became so famous. They were the first to take stem cells, in one case from foreskin, another one a stem cell, and they fed it a broth, and they collected the cell conditioned medium, which is filled with all sorts of great growth factors. That was actually our first step in a skincare that was actually efficacious in delaying the aging of your skin. We went one step further. We took that on and off switch and we used a vector to shoot that on and off switch into the DNA of the adult mesenchymal stem cells to increase the production or upregulate the Klotho gene. As a result of that, we get the Klotho protein and second generation growth factors in our cell conditioned medium. That's the fluid coming from the stem cells. Now, second generation growth factors means that they are quantitatively and qualitatively greater than regular growth factors. The Klotho protein we were able to get in a reliable, reproducible, measurable quantity every time. So then we had to take the stem cells and we had to duplicate them. And that's not easy because stem cells, number one, either want to grow up and differentiate, they want to kick out a genetic modification, or they die. So it actually took us years and two patents to get our cells to reproduce so that we had scalability. Once we had scalability, we collected the cell conditioned medium from the stem cells, and then we measure it with an ELISA assay, which quantifies the Klotho protein and the amount of growth factors. Okay, so in this cell conditioned medium, we have the Klotho protein and second generation growth factors. And that is literally what's in the face serum, 25% that we're going to be presenting in some of the studies, 15% of the eye cream, 10% of the night cream, and 50% of our Klotho complex from microneedling. We went over this last time. The Klotho protein is exceptional in what it does. All these factors are great, but only the Klotho protein preserves the telomeres, blocks oxidative stress, is DNA protective, does DNA repair, reverses cellular damage, increases cellular longevity, activates platelet effect, acts as an anti-inflammatory, and increases nitric oxide. Here we go. Cellular studies were started about 3 years ago. We've been doing research with the Klotho protein for 26 years. And in the beginning, a lot of people had no idea what I was talking about. A few years back, the PhDs started asking me, and one was Peter Sikora with Amelia Labs. I show you this only because this is a type of test that's used to measure DNA damage. It's called a alkaline comet test, and it measures the amount of DNA strand damage, which we know was responsible for initiating a lot of the microcancers. So Peter did this on his own. We had nothing to do with it. We just gave him our cell conditioned medium, and he took two groups of fibroblasts. One was bathed in our cell conditioned medium, and the other was the control. He then took UVA radiation on these cells and measured the DNA damage. Well, he called me because he was on the East Coast. He called me very early in the morning because I'm on the West Coast. And he was so excited. He goes, Gail, I know I can't reproduce it, but we got a 40% reduction in DNA strand damage. Well, he did reproduce it. He did it more than 15 times on more than 250,000 cells. So this showed a clear protective response against one of the biggest uh, age-related forms of damage we can have is in terms of oxidative stress to our cells. Well, he continued the experiment, did the same thing with the fibroblasts, the control and the ones bathed in the cell conditioned medium, only this time he only did the equivalent of 8 hours of sunlight. Same thing, 40% reduction in DNA strand damage. So this got published in European Journal of Medicine, and it was pretty darn exciting. So we went on with two other cellular studies. The one on the right is the exact same study, only this time we took um, UVB irradiation on the fibroblast control and bathed in the cell conditioned medium, and we measured the amount of collagen. We actually found out that there was an increase in collagen 4 after the UVB irradiation. And we know this is really important for maintaining the basal membrane. The study on the left is our third and last cellular study. We took the cell conditioned medium, and at the right concentration, we started measuring expressions of other genes. We found at the right concentration of the Klotho protein, it acts as a positive feedback loop and actually increased the production or overexpression of H-TERT and SIRT6. Now, these are known to have one function only. You know, the telomeres are the holy grail of aging. These two genes, when they're overproduced, make caps on the end of the telomeres so they don't shorten. Remember, when your telomeres shorten, your cell dies. When your cell dies, sometimes it's destroyed, but sometimes it can hang around as a zombie or a senescent cell, which is emitting inflammatory signals. And when your senescent cell load gets too high, you start getting disease processes. And this is true for every organ system. Okay, in the clinical studies that we're going to be talking about, we know how we got the cell conditioned medium from genetically modified adult mesenchymal stem cells, and that makes up 25% of our face, 15% of our eye, 10% of our night cream, and 50% of our cell conditioned medium. It is probably one of the few things that can claim to be regenerative, preventative, and protective. All right, remember I told you the Klotho protein was very large. It doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. That came from module 1. How does it get through the skin? Well, that's when we use liposome technology. Otherwise, it wouldn't get through the skin. And we're actually going to show you penetration studies later on in this talk. Second generation growth factors, there are no perfumes. That's becoming very important to patients today. We use only a citrus acid oil for the very light orange smell. What's not in the goop, endotoxins, plant and animal cells. We checked every group for bacteria, fungus, and mycoplasma. All right, now we're going to go into our clinical studies. Our first clinical study came out in Skin and Aging. There were 10 subjects. They did nothing except for use the Klotho face serum morning and night. And then we monitored them with evaluation forms as well as serial photography, and we used the VisiaScan. At the end of 3 months, doing no other lifestyle changes whatsoever, we found there was a 30% mean and median in wrinkles or rhytids on the VisiaScan, a 31% improvement in texture, a 31% reduction in photodamage. So this was published in Skin and Aging about 2 years ago. Well, this was great, but we went on and we needed a double-blinded study. Now, this study came out in the Journal of Dermatologic Drugs in September 2025. And Pearl Grimes did this for us. We actually made a fake goo that was identical, packed in the same package. Both the doctors and the patients were double-blinded. It was a 12-week study, same thing, 3 months, 20 patients. 4 were randomized into a control group, and then they were followed with VisiaScan Canfield photography, and finally we did do biopsies, and the mexameter was used to monitor pigment color. The results blew our initial study out of the water. Overall, there was a 2.5 times global improvement. And you will see this and notice this as a Klotho glow. In all the before and afters you're going to see in this slide deck, they will look almost more volumized as well as significant improvement and almost a luminosity. There was a 36.5% reduction in photodamage, 18.1% reduction in melanin, 11% reduction in erythema, 38.5% reduction in dyschromia, and a 27.5% reduction in wrinkles. These are our biopsies for some of our patients. This shows the decrease in melanocytes on the top layer. The dark pink you're seeing before and after is showing you the significant increase in collagen that's occurring here. And finally, this last staining is showing both the increase in collagen as well as the increase in elastin. This is one of the rosacea patients from the study. Again, you see that increase in luminosity and almost that revolumization. Okay, so then we went on to our third clinical. By the way, all these studies are IRB approved. Of course, the IRBs are listed there. We went on to our third clinical study. This was done by Steve Yolen, and he's in Newport, very well known, as is Pearl Grimes, both KLs. And this was just accepted and will be coming out in the Journal of Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery within the next 6 months. So we are very excited about that. The difference was in his study, he had patients continue on the product for 4 months, not 3 months, but he had them use all of them, the eye, the face, and the night, morning and night. So there was a synergy and a layering of product that we had not done in the other studies. Well, the results were incredible. There was a 47.5% reduction in photodamage, 61% reduction in dryness. Remember, I told you Klotho decreases transepidermal water loss. That's why. 38.5% reduction in erythema, 31.2% reduction in dyschromia, 27.3% reduction in wrinkles. They seem to be staying right about that same amount. They don't go up or not. And that little 15% is exceptional because that is a decrease in atrophy or the thinning of the skin that happens as you age. And no products really shown that can reverse the actual atrophy of the skin that happens with aging. This is a bar graph showing you the results that we just talked about. There was a significant improvement in the erythema responding in the study versus the Grimes study. And this is showing, let me move this over. This is showing the patient questionnaire, self-assessment questionnaire at the 4th month. Now, I want you to notice that the lowest response rate on any patient was 92.3%, but half the patients said 100% of all their concerns were addressed. And we found that pretty impressive. As we go through the following photos, I want you just to look at the before and afters. I think you can see them clearly, and you'll see the revolumization and the glow that you see. And in some of these, they actually look like they've almost had a laser resurfacing. We did find in our study that the more severe the damage, the bigger the response that was expected. And we also found the younger the patients, the more they responded. All right, so then we launched our microneedling Klotho complex. It does not have to be used with microneedling. It is 50% cell conditioned medium along with micronized HA. The reason we're using micronized HA is because that too has an anti-inflammatory response equal to that of dexamethasone. So you can use this right after an ablative laser or anything from as simple as microneedling all the way up to doing a Morpheus 8 or a Tixel or any other ablative procedure. There is nothing else in it other than that, except for a little bit of water, and then there's less than 1% of a preservative. These are filled to 5 cc's. 2 applications can be used per bottle after you open it, then store it in the refrigerator. The recommendation is you could do this depending on how you're getting it in. You can do this every week, but depending on how late of the procedure is, that limits the use of this. After you apply it, don't wash your face for 24 hours. Now, we started a study, and it's on hold, where we're combining the Klotho complex with ionophoresis and electrophoresis. We wanted to see how much of it was systemically absorbed, but I'm going to show you that on the next slide. The other way that is becoming more and more popular with this, other than just microneedling or using it with your lasers, if you don't have that in your practice already, you can do something as simple as using it with microdermabrasion and sonic vibration. And we're going to talk about in the next talk, that's the Juvasonic, really easy to use, no downtime, guaranteed results. Everyone likes it, and it's very, very affordable. So if you have more questions about that, we're going to address that in the next module. These are photos showing the stratum corneum. This is an intact stratum corneum here. You can see nothing's getting through. In the middle photo here, tactile application of the Klotho complex. Remember, this doesn't really have the liposomes in it, so it needs a process to get through. But even without that, we rubbed it very firmly through the tear trough and then took this, and you can see some of the stratum corneum is a little fractured. And these darker spots here, this is the Klotho complex. Now, this is the depth to the side here. Looking all the way to the third and final slide, this is using the Juvasonic, which combines microderm with sonic vibration, and it breaks up the stratum corneum. And now you can see the Klotho protein and all these bigger, darker levels getting through. So it's certainly something you can think about as adding and increasing your efficacy. So does the Klotho topically actually have a systemic effect? Well, one of my partners microneedled his whole belly and he measured his beta gal blood level, which is reflective of your senescent cell load. We talked about that before he did the treatment, 1 hour afterwards, and 24 hours afterwards. And I can tell you, he had a 2/3 reduction in senescent cell load just after microneedling the Klotho cell conditioned medium right onto his belly skin. So yes, it does have a topical effect. This is our next study. We're starting this probably this September. This is with Howard Leonhardt's group, and we're going to combine their multimodal approach of skin rejuvenation using energy delivery with our engineered gene protein formulations, and we expect to see fabulous results. I think the combination of both will be simply unbeatable, so I will keep you up to date on that. That is the talk. I wanted to tell you this is all in an animated video, so we're going to take 90 seconds and play this right now.
What if your skin didn't have to age like everyone else's? Introducing an innovative new skincare line that can help you realize that exact possibility. In 1997, the Klotho gene was identified as the first documented age-suppressing gene in mammal that can delay aging when overexpressed. And now, Klotho Skin has patented a process that genetically modifies human stem cells to overproduce the Klotho gene and collect the Klotho protein. Combined with second-generation growth factors, this cell-conditioned medium is the main ingredient in our revolutionary patented face and eye serum. Through further testing, we found that exposing cells to the Klotho protein upregulated two other genes that prolong cellular life. Not only is Klotho the first and only skincare line which works with genetically enhanced cells, but studies show that greater than 95% of users noticed improvements in their wrinkles, texture, and UV spots, demonstrating that the Klotho protein may be regenerative, protective, and preventative. Klotho is the future of skincare, an all-in-one treatment offered in medical offices and spas to address skin photoaging. For more information on how your skin does not have to age like everyone else's, visit us online at klothoskin.com.
Well, that's it. We left time for questions and answers, but I wanted everyone to know MedResults and Klotho have joined together. So for anyone that's in the MedResult network, you get a special code, and that is MRN15. No matter what you order, you get 15% even off the wholesale bundle prices. That is bringing the price really, really down. Um, and we do have a combination that we'll talk about next Tuesday with the Juvasonic, where you can bundle that together with the Klotho Complex if there is interest there as well. And I think that's it, Jeff.
Okay, well, I thank you. That was a great presentation. I've got some questions that have come up, and the first question is, will it generate cancer cells?
That's a great question. The answer is quite the opposite. Because the Klotho protein actually decreases your DNA strand damage, that was that alkaline comet test early on with the Socorro lab study that came out in the European Journal of Medicine. It's actually cancer suppressive. You can't say that, but it's quite the opposite. Klotho is known very well to be cancer suppressive. It also, remember last module we talked about the
Yeah.
WNT pathway, signaling pathway. Klotho promotes that pathway, and that not only stimulates stem cells, but it also is cancer suppressive. So it's actually suppressing cancer two ways, that pathway, as well as decreasing the UVA DNA strand damage.
Okay, next question is, can we use the before and afters from today for clients?
Sure. Oh, that was easy.
Okay, all right.
These are published. So each one of those studies is in a reputable journal. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine. And I'm very proud that we've been in the Journal of Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, or we will be in the next 6 months, and Journal of Dermatologic Drugs and Skin and Aging. So any reproductions that you want, you're more than welcome to use, as well as the animated video. If you guys want access to that, you're welcome to that as well.
Okay, great. Next question. How do you sell Klotho versus retinol and other products?
Great question. Retinol stands alone. So the Klotho face serum, let's talk about how long each one lasts. Okay, face serum, 3 months. Eye serum, 3 months. Night cream, 6 months. Klotho complex, 2 treatments. Airless pump on the face serum, and the night and the eye, the night is an open jar. So one pump in the morning, one pump at night. Then you can follow with anything else you would normally put on the day. You don't truly need an antioxidant, remember, because this is blocking oxidative stress already. It's not going to hurt if you double up. You just don't need it. And then apply the night cream morning and night. And that acts kind of as a saran wrap that sucks everything in. At night, you're still going to have to use your Retin-A. So you're going to do a Klotho face serum pump, then the Retin-A than the night cream. And as far
Okay.
as other things you're going to use, if you still want to use there is a lightening that happens with this, but it's not a true bleacher. So if you still want to use a bleacher, use that. Any other specialty medication that you're using, feel free to use the face serum first and the night cream after everything else you put on. And there's a general rule, thin to thick.
Okay. Next question. Can Klotho be combined with exosomes, you kind of answered this, CHK? Can it be used with microneedling or target cool?
Yeah, I think we actually answered that question last time. Um, CHK is copper, and this is one of the things that you can do either as a peptide, as an injectable, or you can use it as a topical form. So it can absolutely be used. The Target Cool, you can use the Klotho complex afterwards. It's a great indication for it. But you would want them, and I always use this analogy. If people come in and they get a Klotho complex treatment, and by the way, we're going to talk a little bit about this next time, but your upcharge is about minimum $500 and your cost is maximum 95. That's if you don't split the vial, but it could be as little as 45. Um, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Um, Oh,
Talking
yeah,
about, yeah, go
yeah, I
ahead.
got it. But when you're doing a Klotho complex treatment, that's like working out with a trainer, right? That's that big workout. But if you don't use the face serum morning and night and get constant exposure to the Klotho protein, because remember we talked about how short the half-life is. It's only about 20 minutes. It's more like acting like a signaling. It's then it would be like out with a trainer without doing a little consistent workout every day. You need both. You need a treatment with Klotho complex, but you must go on that daily one pump in the morning, one pump at night.
Okay, next question. How is it most effectively administered or applied?
I think we just covered that actually. So face serum morning and night. Anything else you're going to use, Retin-A, still use that. That stands alone. And then the night cream goes on top of everything. And that means the eye cream goes morning and night as well. So one pump face, one pump eye, night cream, same thing at night, only add your Retin-A and then anything else that you feel you need to be on.
Okay, next question. How predictable are the outcomes when you think of regenerative medicine? How do you decide recommending new treatments that may or may not come from overseas?
Well, we talked about that last time too. I think that question was brought in, and we talked about the salmon, sperm, and the plant growth factors because in the European Union, you can't have anything that works with human stem cells. So you're going to get a lot of plant growth factors working from plant stem cells. I don't believe they work as well. Once you get to your Asian, South Pacific, you're getting different things that they're using, but one big one is the salmon sperm that we talked about. And I think I said we're not fish and we're not plants. So if you really want to maximize your result, work with something that comes from human cells so your cells recognize it. I'm not saying the other products don't won't help you or they won't hurt you, but they're not going to do as much to help you. Excuse me.
Okay. Um, Next question. Are there water-based products to use with microcurrent devices?
Well, the Klotho complex is a water-based product. Remember, I showed the ingredients on that. And that's one reason the microcurrent works really well. Are you asking about, can you guys write in the chat? Are you asking about other products individually? And I'm happy to share anything I know about them with you.
Please put your comment or question either in the webinar chat or the question and answer, and we can answer that.
But you can use
Anyone?
microcurrents with anything like that. I mean, even with With your copper peptides, if they're mixed with sterile water, you can use microcurrents to drive them in. The study that we were doing with the ionophoresis and the electrophoresis theoretically would have gotten it centimeters deep. Now, you don't really need to, right? That's getting into your organ interface. But it's interesting how much that actually can penetrate whatever the functional molecule is.
Anybody have any other questions or comments? Please submit it in the webinar chat or the question and answer. Well, I think that's all the questions that we have tonight.
Let's see, where are we? We actually ended a little faster today, and I thought today would go way over. We have another webinar, the third out of three, and it's all going to just be on return on investment next Tuesday. So I hope everyone will still join us on that one. If there's any other questions, this is your time to
We
get
do have one more question.
good, good.
Are the slides available?
Yes. So you are welcome to the slide decks. Well, we have a product book. We have time here. Let me show you what the book looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to answer the other question, the slides are available, yes. And this was recorded, and we will send the recording out after it goes through a quick edit. So you will get that in the next couple of days, day or two.
Okay, let me get out of here and I'll just go over the product book really quickly. It's a little embarrassing because you now see my screen top. Okay, can you guys see this?
We don't have anything up yet.
Oh, you don't. Okay. Okay, can you see it now?
Okay. You can see the top of it. Yeah, there you go. If you can make this as a screen, that'd be great. If you can make it a little bit bigger, that'd be great.
Um, okay.
There you go. That's fine. That'll be
Okay.
fine.
So this is the product book that you're going to be getting. That's our tagline, where gene science meets regenerative skincare. Um, this comes as a spiral binder, they can sit on your coffee table. Basically, this is for your patients to flip through as they're sitting in your front office, gives them an introduction to Klotho, and shows the Klotho mice. By the way, that is Joe Cleaver's book in the corner there, but we are writing a book right now. I just finished the first two chapters on Klotho for biohackers. You're going to hear more and more about this. This is another page that clearly has a typo, which is kind of embarrassing right there. Ignore that. The mechanisms of action, how we did it, how it's made. So a lot of this makes your life easier. So you don't need to explain all this to your patients. Our cellular studies, clinical trial 1, clinical trial 2, clinical trial 3. And then we showed a couple the before, just one in this case. We have the home use protocol. We talk about the Klotho complex compared to exosomes, rapamycin, mTOR brands. That would be ReQ. It's one of the newest ones. They're all great. Klotho's just a little more. What's in it? What's not? How does it work? And this needs to be updated because it does not have the Journal of Plastic and Reconstructive, but it has our JDD article. And for those that care, we did make the top 10 face serum and night cream in that very famous medical journal known as New Beauty Magazine that everyone has on their coffee table. So we made the top 10 in both, and we're pretty proud of that. So this is the product book. And then This is not in the book, but we're going to talk more about this, the revenue you guys can expect. I don't want to give that away.
That's for next week, right?
That's our teaser alert. That's right.
Okay. A couple more questions to come in. Clotho serum can clotho serum be mixed with GHK CO?
Yeah, you can mix them. I would layer it.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, they're both great. They work by different mechanism. That's why that both the copper and someone out there really likes copper. I got to say this. But the combination of that and the retin-A, they both work differently, and they're all going to add to that. Just
Okay,
remember,
another.
when you're using copper, you're actually using it as a signaling molecule. So it's, don't think of it like something that's going to stay and affect your skin. You're using it as a signaling molecule so that you lay down more collagen and things like that.
Okay, I've got another question. How do you gain patient trust with the introduction of new products such as this when they've been using other products? And then at the end, they say, congratulations on your success here.
Oh, okay. This is one of my greatest things. It's a heavy science subject. That's why we did the animated video. That's why whatever you want, you guys can have. We want to get the word out there. One of our most successful offices simply says, this is changing the way that your skin ages. And this is true. And then they have the tagline, you expect our office to be up on the latest and the greatest. That's why you come to see us. This is the latest and greatest. We have a one-page summary that we can send to your office so you have it. But I think that's the tagline. It's the one thing that's preventative, regenerative, and protective. And
I
that
like
usually
that.
combined with the fact that you want to put it on your kids the minute they're born, and your dogs, and your if you have a pet hamster, him too, then they get it that this is something that's different. They're going to stay on long term.
Got another question. That's a great way to explain. Yes, please send to me and Lisa Lucas, my rep. So we'll get that's from Catherine. We'll get all of this over
Okay.
to you. Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
I
Mm,
think people know that the old skincare days are going. There's a future here. I'm going to talk on other
yeah.
products. How about that? We
Got
have
a couple more questions. Couple more questions.
okay.
Is this safe for kids to use?
Yes, it decreases your DNA damage by 40%. I say that all the time. The minute they come out, you want to be putting the stuff on them.
Okay, and then I this one I might be miss. It says Lisa is on, and it said something about biohacking with a question mark.
So, do you guys know, um, dang it, the guy that wrote, the authored How Not to Die? He's big in San Francisco up here, and Karen Rutledge just did a series on how not to die. It's a big thing in San Francisco. I can't think of his name. They call him the human vampire. He spends 2 million a year not aging. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Hope. Oh.
I know of
If
because
anyone can think of the name, type it in, please. It's not Adia, it's not Uberman. It's another anti-aging specialist. It's right at the tip of my tongue. Anyway, when we launched, I didn't know who he was, and I think he's pretty famous, but he called me up and he bought like 20 of these, and he said he was just gonna bathe in them. And apparently he liked it. I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. So there you go.
we have an answer, Brian Johnson,
That's
and
it. That's it.
I
Ryan
just looked it
Johnson.
up on AI, and that's who it says. And it looks like there's another person that's saying, could it be Michael Greger?
It could
According
be,
to
but it
this,
was Ryan Johnson. Oh, and I have something really exciting to tell everyone. I mean, part of this is getting the word out there, right? We know it's branding, and right now no one knows what Klotho is. Well, now they do way more. We saw that exponential graph in the last talk. But Tony Robbins, everyone knows who Tony Robbins is. Um, Motivational speaker. He just came out on YouTube and has a podcast on Klotho, which kind of surprised me. But we're going to try and get him to write the intro for our book on Klotho because it's for the layperson in biohacking. But the word is getting out there. I was pretty impressed that Tony Robbins was already talking about it. So don't think your patients aren't hearing about this. And remember, our new best friends, our new besties are either Claude, Google, or Gemini, right? And a lot of people are going to them saying, hey, what can I do for my skin? And Klotho is actually coming up now.
that's excellent. Any more? Oh, we got another one. Dr. David Guthrie had mentioned this in his supplement ad. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not. I don't know. I know that Joe Cleaver put out a Klotho Max, and we are working on an oral supplement. And that will be introduced as a dietary supplement or a medical food. But everything's taking a lot longer than we thought. This took me 26 years to get where we are today, you guys. None of this is easy, but I think this is really going to change things. And I think in 5 years, you're going to be taking a Klotho protein blood test, like you take a cholesterol test today. Remember, you can monitor in your blood, your CSF, and your urine. It's indicative of your morbidity and your mortality. Right now, we have a topical way to get it in. Let's use it until the other ones come along.
Got another question. How soon do you see the results?
Oh, 2 weeks. Yeah,
Okay.
we see some people that see it as soon as 3 days. I used to say 30 days, and one skin cell turnover is 21 to 28 days. I know you guys are all experts at that, but I'd say 2 weeks, they see something. Use the night cream morning and night just to swipe that last 6 months.
Okay. Any other questions? Let me see if anybody comes on. So Catherine Steckman Smith raised her hand. Let me view that. And let me see here. Okay, Catherine, if you can hear me, I'm trying to allow you to talk.
Well, I'm seeing on here that
There she
oh,
is.
there you are. Okay.
Yep.
Hey,
Sorry,
Jeff,
Catherine, I'm incompetent. Yes, go ahead.
how soon are these products available to order? And when will we get a price sheet, etc.?
Well, you can actually, this is how you do it if you want to order.
Hmm.
So right now is your answer. You can place the
Okay.
order right now. So they're available. They've all been tested. They're all FDA. We are listed with MOCRA. All important questions. If you guys have any questions, you ask me. If I don't have an answer, I'll get it for you. But complete transparency. Um, you can go to the Klotho Skin website. You will see there that it says for patients and for providers. You go into the provider site, you sign up, you get approved, and then you can place an order. But when you place your order, you put in the code MRN15, and you'll see that you can bundle. So you can get the prices down to as low as $120 wholesale, right? You're retailing it for $250. This is a huge, I'm very pro doctor clearly. It's a great product. It works, but I also want to see you guys make a lot of money. Um, but you can get 15% even off of that by using that code MRN15. Then you check out, you're in control of it. It ships, our central hub is in Texas, so it ships out generally in about 3 days. We use Texas because it's centered to the East Coast or the West Coast.
Great.
And Catherine, if you have any further questions, you can always go to info@MedResults Network and just on the subject area, just type in Klotho and then in the body, just ask your question. We'll get that over to Dr. Humble as quickly as we can. Any other questions or comments?
I could actually see the chat down here too.
I think,
is-
I think we're all good here.
Yeah. Oh, what is the website?
Ah,
Okay. Klotho Skin, Klotho skin.com. Sign in as a provider. You got my email, everyone. Gail.humble@klothoskin.com if you have any questions. GAIL. But sign in as a provider. You get approved. Then you place your order. But on the last page before you place your order, put your code in and you get an additional 15%. And then also the brochures go out. The brochures explain a lot of the science. And if you order the largest fabulous bundle, I don't have one with me. I'll bring it for the next webinar. But we have a little tabletop card that plays that animated video and you open and the patients can play it 200 times. You recharge it in your computer and it goes again. I'll bring it for the next webinar next week.
can't wait. I want to let you all know, for me, because I'm a business guy, next week is going to be very exciting because this really basically shows how to place it into practice, get your return on your investment, and again, how it helps patients. So I can't wait till next week. Did I kind of sum that up okay, Dr. Humble?
Absolutely. It's supposed to be a
Okay.
win-win-win every way.
All right. I think that's all. I don't see any other questions. So we will see you all next week. If you want to invite whomever you want to come, they can be a member of MedResults Network or they don't have to be. We want everybody to understand this. This is a great product, it's a great science, and we have a great physician and scientist presenting it.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much.
See you next week.